All right, I'm going to move now on to my fixed assets and investment property cycle index, and this is the same that is going to happen in every single one of the indexes within your file. Now, again, it has a little bit of a guidance sheet, because what we do pull into your index is also your system notes. We're creating a nice little container for you to go and document the system descriptions of the cycle in each case. So there's an index which you can use, as feel free to use it if you wish, and you'll see that there's space to go and say whether or not PPE lead schedule is applicable, and then you can go and insert hyperlinks, so it becomes a little front page index for you for each section of the audit. Audit program is automatically going to say yes, and then you can go and add any items that you wish, specify that they're part of the audit. Once you say yes, then that row will print if you want to print your audit program, sorry, your index, and then you'll have the hyperlinks to follow through. But the index is completely voluntary. You don't have to use the index. We then include the system notes. And this used to be document 12.55, and there was one document for you to document all your system notes for all your cycles while you're busy with the planning. We just felt though that that was not the best location for it, because when you're doing the planning, you're not necessarily at the client and you can't ask questions about the system. Okay, the first thing that you need to do, and it's under action 1, is please go and document the laws and regulations and the policies and procedures that are applicable to the cycle. So just go and document the information, and then you would go and specify different types of transactions. So if we were doing revenue, you might have different classes of revenue that are recognized in different ways. So maybe credit sales and cash sales. For property, plant and equipment, what am I going to have? Fixed asset register maintenance. And then you can go and describe what is the process flow. So how does it originate? How does the transaction originate? How does maintenance happen? Details of discussions and with whom and what you inspected. So don't just go and write it, go and have a look what is happening. Frequency, how frequency does this control happen? How frequently does the procedure happen? Who's the responsible person? What IT system is used? Just note if there are any risks you're identifying. Now we're actually past the risk identification phase, so we're just saying here, confirm that you have dealt with this risk on your business or fraud RAC, because if you find a risk here, you may have to go back and reconsider your risks based on what you're describing in your system descriptions, and where necessary you can go and give reference to the MLP. If I scroll down, you'll see that there are multiple items there, up to 10 different sections that you can include. All right, and that's then for different types of transactions. You'll have depreciation, additions, disposals. When you're dealing with smaller cycles, and especially if you are doing a smaller micro audit where you have income statement and balance sheet, you might just stipulate revenue recognition, how you recognize expenses, and that's it. That's the entire description of the cycles within that client. So depending on the level of detail, depending on the size of the client, you may need to just adjust how much detail you put in here. The other thing that I want to point out is you will note the cells are blue. Therefore, information that you capture on this index will roll forward to next year. So it is again worth documenting these in detail. However, if you already have your system description in a Word document, nothing stops you from just putting a hyperlink from this working paper to that specific document, and that's it. You don't need to go and complete the detail here, and when you roll forward, you can just carry forward that working paper that has the system descriptions on already. If you do have those systems descriptions, it might be nice to include them under the planning section rather than under the execution, but we just felt if you don't have the system descriptions already, this is a nice place to go and insert it. Nice and easy to to find, and it's then part of the cycle that you're delegating or giving a specific clerk to do. So I just wanted to quickly point out the system notes working paper section on each index. Okay. All right. I just see there is a question quickly that popped up that I want to cover, and it's how you record a hyperlink in the spreadsheet. If you are, for instance, and let's go back to the investment property, the fixed assets audit program. If you are wanting to put a hyperlink into any location within any working paper within Draftworx, you just need to first use the Office tools to import that working paper into Draftworx, and you can import Word documents, spreadsheets, PDFs, whatever you like. Let's put in a spreadsheet quickly. Once you select the type, it asks you yes to open an existing file or no to create a new file. Let's go and open an existing one, and I have one on my desktop somewhere. Oh no, it was on my other desktop. It's probably a very long document. Okay, so here we have a working paper that we've now imported into Draftworx. I go to Save As. I specify a section reference, so let's call this 30.40, and it is the fixed asset register. And once I've specified the name, given it a section reference, all I have to now do is say where I want to save it. Let's put it under audit programs. That's probably the best place to save most of your working papers. I click on audit programs, and it's now going to update the name for me. It's now called 30.40 in my window. Okay, and now if I have a look under my audit programs section 30, there is my fixed asset register. So that file is now part of my audit file as a whole for this client. Okay, I would then in this document go and specify that there is a fixed asset register. Yes, it is applicable to the component, and then I've got a hyperlinks tab, which I then go and hit the drop down under section 30, because that's where I want to go and find the file, just giving everybody's computers a chance to catch up with where I am. And you would then simply go and click on 30.40 to go and insert a hyperlink to 30.40. Okay, because this file is now part of the entire audit file, when you're copying files across, when you move it from server to local, it doesn't matter, this file will go with it, and therefore the hyperlink reference remains the same. So there it inserts the hyperlink for you automatically, and at any point you can click the hyperlink and it'll then open up that working paper for you. Okay.